Tucker,
Here.
Glass,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Shuday, Fisher,
Here.
Swallow, here, Sherman.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of 14th May 2025.
Do we have those?
We don't have those, but
Table it or what?
we can look at it.
It's down here on the,
I've got a copy if you want to look at mine.
I'll pull it up. I just thought we had copies from the, honestly. Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Roll call, please.
Fisher,
Yes.
Glass,
Yes.
Swallow,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes. Discussion on financial statement from May 2025.
When I looked through them, when they first got sent out, I didn't see anything that didn't look out of the ordinary. For May, when we get to June, we were making some, well, we'll talk about June here.
Sucker that up, huh? I should have brought my other one. What's been that? Type?
Are you talking like the full cash part? Or are you talking like cash, I mean, where,
We're negative $100,000.
well, if you go back to, yeah, I guess I don't have the last ones on there. Am I gonna turn it this way to make it bigger? It's so small. I mean, obviously, the numbers here are due to the pool stuff.
The one that pulled cash is over because of that mistake from Crawford.
Correct, but if you, and it's still a little bit over in June, but not as much.
Say that again.
So that pooled cash is over because of the
mistake.
Sadie explained to us last time, the mistake that
Crawford has made.
Crawford made. So in the June one, it will show,
We're way down.
no, I'm still in May. If you looked at the cash investment balances. You looked at that pool cash, you see where it says the 275,757?
Right, that's a negative.
Correct.
Okay.
That was a mistake that Crawford had made. So in the June one, it has been adjusted, but it's still negative. How that is negative in the June one, I can't answer that.
Who can tell us?
Sadie. And is she out the rest of the week?
She said if we had questions, we can call her.
Okay. Let's,
We'll get her on the phone.
I can get her on the phone.
Did our year end June 3rd?
Yes. Hey Sadie, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone for our meeting here. There were a couple questions, okay? All right, Sadie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the May financials had the 275, 757. That was the mistake of Crawford's, correct?
Well, it wasn't, yes, when they double transferred for our payout, that was paid the previous year.
Okay, and then why is there still a negative balance in the June one?
Because until, from the way I understand it from Paul, that's still cash that we moved over. And then, so the cash was moved over twice. Once was paid out, and then he said that they could fix it once they do adjusting entries. I don't know how they're gonna do that, because to me, they moved it, and it was in your guys' pooled cash to spend. So it has come up some, like it's not as negative, if that makes sense. But I have to see what Paul does. But he did say that they will make adjustments when they do our adjusting entries for fiscal year 25 end, which they just started the audit prep for that.
Okay, so more than likely that won't be a negative balance?
I hope not. I just don't know how they're gonna fix it. But we had to move the cash back to ICS because it was for the pool and it was transferred twice. And that was back in, I think it was February or March, it was before I started. And they transferred it the first time, paid the payout, and then when they did another transfer for other expenses, they transferred it twice. Luckily, they had a lot of detail.
Okay.
What is the ICS account, pooled investment account chart?
What is the, hold on, let me pull my agenda up here.
ICS number 602122.
ICS
Number 602122.
number 602122, the pooled investment turf.
That is the investment account. So when we had the payments for the turf, that's where it was put, and that's where it's being held until it's expended. So once you guys use it, we can move it. It'll get moved over to pooled cash, and then it'll be available to spend.
So that is the remaining of what we budgeted for the turf?
Yeah,
Well,
for payments until it's paid off, or if it's excess. But that's the leftover funds to do any payments or maintenance, I guess, on the turf if we've paid everything off.
Sprint turf has been paid then? Or are we still fighting with Sprint turf?
I don't know the answer to that one.
All right, Steve said we're still fighting it.
yeah, Steve
Yes.
said, yeah.
Okay, so my question is.
Hold on, one more.
My question is, May 31st is 40,000, June 30 is 63. It went up 22,000. Was that the interest? You got put?
Okay, so Sadie, so in the May one, that turf account showed 40,000, and then the June one shows 63,554.
That's the interest.
Okay, that is the interest.
It went up because of interest.
You guys remember we didn't have the interest in the statement for the ICS account?
Yes, last month, you guys met before Alva State could cut me the statements.
Okay,
So why did this end up in the turf account? Like I said, the turf went up 23,000.
that's the interest in that,
For May and.
Yes.
for May and June, because the May one doesn't show the interest on it.
Yeah, but
Except, right, because we had the meeting before we got the statement, so I couldn't book it because I didn't know what it was.
So it all went to the turf account, all the interest?
All
So,
the interest for that account.
for that account,
It's
for
for the
that
term,
ICS
yes.
account, for that specific ICS account.
Yes.
Each of those accounts are now drawing interest
Okay, so how does a $40,000 account draw 23,000 interest?
in 2 months, I don't know.
That's still a
You
lot.
find out.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, it is.
On that,
Down here,
on that, before I start, they had,
for the 60122. That's what it says the interest is.
okay,
So you're saying that, that interest is 23,246.72?
Yeah.
yes, for the turf, but, okay, so before I started, there was 3 lines for that 602122 account. The turf, the other, because it's the pooled investment, and then they had like interest, and then we just tracked it, and then I had to add it together. But that's not how it should go, so I made sure that the interest that goes to turf was applied to the turf line, the interest that goes to the next line is applied, and then the offsetting account is our 4515 interest. That's why, before in your past financials, you'll see ICS, 6022 line 1, turf, line 2, and then interest, and it was all lump sum. I just put it to its respective places versus having one thing that said, 30,000 of interest. That way you guys would know exactly how much turf is earned, how much this is earned, how much that is earned. I don't know why it was set up like that. None of the other ICS accounts are set up like that have multiple projects.
So if you look at
So
that
I was
May one,
making it-
Yeah,
you look at that May one, it says interest on that at the bottom.
yeah.
So
Yes,
that's what's
I-
been applied then to that.
Yes.
But I'm just curious.
So
if
that is
doesn't want
all the interest that turf has made for fiscal year 25.
Oh, it's for the whole year,
Yes.
from
I just
July
moved
of
it so we wouldn't,
2023 to, no, 2024 to
24.
June of 2025.
yes.
So then we're talking about a $400-some thousand balance, maybe 5%,
Yeah, all the time.
roughly. Okay, that makes a little more sense.
But the balance is only 40,000.
Right, there, yeah.
So, let's see, so the city did never allocate any more money to the rec park board to take care of the pool. Is that right?
Good, how are you?
Sadie, here, Greg, Greg,
Okay.
So Sadie, so has the city not allocated any money to the pool account, or is it just all coming out of the ARC account? For all the,
I mean, in the ADA, there's the rec account, and then that's fund 555, and then underneath that, there's the 556 to keep the expenses separate. But within the ADA, there's the top revenue, but there's like swimming pool gates, swimming pool donations, swimming pool concessions, so that the money they make on concessions will go into that concessions. Gate money goes into gate money, and then they have others for like parties and, rentals or any miscellaneous, items that they get money for.
So this is it, this is where the pool 556, so each one of these then it still falls under the ADA.
Yes, because you guys are one unit now per,
But we have
when they
two.
combine Parks, Rec, and all that.
so I'm looking at this, at page 7 of the June 30th, there's an Alva EDA 2023 BOK loan but there's no additional money the city's putting into it, it's just all coming out of the rec board.
As far as I know, that's how it is. We can ask Kelly.
Okay.
But as far as I know, that's kind of how that was supposed to be set up, and then supplemented, I guess, with, concession, with revenue, and I guess the sales tax that goes out to the ADA, but we would have to ask Kelly for further clarification on that.
Any other questions? Okay, say, if something else comes up, I'll holler, but, thank you. Appreciate it.
I will have my phone on me, no problem.
Thanks, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
So is that gonna be an annual loan? We're gonna take a loan, do you know? And
I don't know the
do you
details
know
of that.
if that is, the plan is for the city to take out an annual loan for the budget? For
Well-
the pool, and then,
The only thing that I vaguely remember is them saying is when we took out that loan, that's what the tax money would pay for. Do you remember anything on that?
We've also worked with Northwestern to take out some of their funds to pay some of the pool fees. And that's a loan.
We are.
Yeah, I just,
We're gonna do that too. We're gonna pay it back to them, but I don't remember.
some of
the
that
amount.
$25,000 contract that.
no, it's,
Or something.
no, it's completely different. But
But I think from the way that I've understood it, they've got the pool figured out on how they're gonna pay for it. I don't know all the details either.
So then, if that is the case, then we technically won't need that, correct?
That I don't know.
Steve, do you have any answers?
What's they talking about?
They want to know what the loan is for and how it's going to be paid back,
The BOK loan.
the BOK loan, and how's it
The BOK loan is $1.6 million we took out
for the pool?
for the pool. And we pay that off monthly, and I cannot tell you exactly what that amount is. But it's, I kind of, now that I'm looking, I'm kind of questioning this, the amount we've paid. So I know we haven't paid $221,000, so I'm not sure what that number is. I'll give a second tomorrow and check on that. But we roughly pay $10,000 a month, on that loan. And then we're planning on putting aside between $8,000 and $10,000, for the, loan we took out against the Northwestern Scholarship CDs, to pay those back in 5 years. So that's kind of how it's gonna work.
From the scholarship fund.
But it's coming out of the rec board. It's coming out of the rec
But
board.
it has to be put there so that it shows that it's being paid through the rec center. Otherwise, it would, I mean, they've got to keep their accounting numbers straight.
And
with a lot.
this board approved it or not?
I don't think you had to. I think the council did. Well, I know council did, but
The council passed a resolution on it.
I don't know why we have a rec board.
Hey, but I will tell you this, we still have one more pay app of $382,785 to pay to completely pay off the pool. And part of that, we're gonna pull out the general fund because for some reason, the mayor thinks we should be paying the engineering fees for the pool out of the general fund instead of out of the ADA. And so say you're gonna work the pool, part of that money out
So has any of those engineering fees came out of our budget already?
No, we from the get-go, we didn't calculate any of those engineering fees.
Yes.
And from the start, based off all the numbers that we were all working with, we had a $300,000 deficit that we didn't account for because we, to be honest, we forgot about the engineering fees.
Right, but no payments have been made yet, correct?
No, they've come out of the general fund so far. We haven't paid any out of the ADA.
Any other discussion?
Anything? Whatever's in that. Agreed.
All right. Discussion on financial statement from June 2025, any additional conversation there? What were you saying earlier, Courtney, about June being a little bit different than May?
Well, just, we were talking about what I got saved on the phone as far as those adjustments.
That was the only difference, or that was the only thing that,
And then any of our line items, on those other pages that are negative with our expenditures, we've made adjustments. We're pulling out of other accounts, so it'll still be, they'll show up a positive, so we won't have any negatives that show up, if that makes any sense. So like concession supplies, we're over $5,100, but property maintenance, we have 14. So we'll just make the adjustment to come out of a different line. So there won't be any negatives on there anymore. So for the rec center, we did okay.
do we have any data on, with having tournaments this year, tournament revenue versus expenditures, how much money was made just in softball, baseball tournaments?
Yeah, I've got it on my laptop. I can email that stuff out. But
I'd be curious.
yeah, there was a couple of our tournaments that didn't make, which, but there's some weekends next year that I know that I've got a flip-flop, kind of like league tournament. When it's baseball league, I'll have softball tournament, vice versa. But yeah, we've got all the gate numbers and concessions.
To have some historical data to it to see.
I can go back from like the year before,
Yeah.
each year, and just kind of compare.
I'd be interested in that. All right, director's report.
So, all of our rec league t-ball coach pitch, that ended up the end of June. Men's league, softball, taking those entries now. I think we'll have 5 teams there. Those will start on Wednesday nights. Don't know if we'll start next Wednesday or the Wednesday after that, just because how quick those are getting on this. Cheer camp will be the end of June. The high school cheerleaders will do that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that week from 10 to 12. It is July 28th, 29th, and 30th. And that'll be done out here. We have started, Chris and I have started looking at dates for fall tournaments. We've started making flyers for those. We just want to make sure that there's no other tournaments real close that's going to conflict.
What's the,
Baseball, softball for fall. And we're going to kind of change it up for baseball in the fall a little bit. We usually do 8U, 10U, 12U. I've had a lot of Kansas teams reach out and ask to do 9U and 11U. So we're going to offer 9U, 10U, 11U, 12U and see how that works. If a couple of those don't go, we may combine them with, if everybody's okay with combining them. But in Kansas, most of them play 9U, 11U, 13U. So we're going to see how that goes. Pool's going pretty good. It's busy. We average about anywhere from 2 to 225 during the week, and anywhere from 3 $3.25 on the weekend. Had a lot of support with kids passes. A lot of people donated money. So as of right now, we haven't had to have a kid pay to get into the pool. We probably have about 900 more passes to go, and there's still people bringing stuff in. Pool parties almost every weekend in July, except for one Sunday has a pool party on it. And then there's 2 Sundays in August that don't have a pool party. So there's a lot of pool parties that are going on. A lot of our staff up there have a lot of camps and a lot of events, so we're trying to work as best we can with making sure we have the numbers for lifeguards compared to kids, so that way everybody's covered safety-wise. There were some in the beach area, some of the plaster was peeling up already. I made a call to Ascend. I've got a meeting night up there tonight at 6:30 to make those repairs on that. I didn't feel like they needed to, it didn't need to be coming up as quick as it did. So hopefully when he comes back and he patches all that, that'll be fixed and stay fixed. So pumps are running well. I do like the automatic chlorination acid system that we have. You know, we just go in and we do test everything just to make sure that everything is still pumping correctly in there. So that is a lot less work for us. We don't have to manually deal with that. Zeth is leaving in August, so I've got to find a grounds maintenance person, or we could be in trouble out here with that. I have had one application, nothing bad about Northwestern football player, but I know when football season starts that he won't be available, and that's the only application that I've had. The park guy, Mark, in the park, is, he'll be leaving August 15th, so I'll have to find someone to replace him as well. I think that's all I have. So just need some able bodies that can take care of some things.
What's the pay range on ground staff?
Anywhere from 15 to 18, 15 to 19 an hour. Yeah.
Overtime?
It is hourly.
It is hourly. Yeah, so yes, it's not salary. You know, and depending on if they have any other certifications, you know, spraying license, anything like that, you know, those are things we'll put into consideration as well. So, know anybody? No, Rob?
No, I was just thinking, if you couldn't find anybody, maybe you have to contract with one of these local outfits that does all that. I don't know if they would be interested in what the cost would be. I know it is hard to find help.
It is. I do have a part-time guy that's worked with Zeth all summer. He's done a really good job, and Zeth kind of just sends him on his way and says, here's what I need you to do. So the nice thing, yes, school will be starting, but you know, I can keep him at least on the mower and doing that. So I can always hop on the mower if I have to. So.
Yeah, you got so much free time.
So if anybody knows anybody.
How many other part-time positions are we hiring for?
Right now, I think all my part-time positions are full. I don't know if when school starts, if some of them will be, some of them wait to tell me when school starts and say, I'm too busy, I can come in all week. But as of right now, for here, we're okay with that. And they've been great here, you know, and Chris and I haven't been long, they've stepped up.
City council report.
We adopted the 25-26 annual budget. We approved a resolution for the Alva Arena Authority to be able to sell their bonds for an agreement pertaining to certain tax increment revenue voted to have Kelly represent the Woods County for the Oklahoma Economic Development Association Board of Directors. And then we had executive session. So that's what we did.
All right, discussion on ball field lighting proposals.
Well, I think since Gail has all of her numbers right in front of her, maybe she can give everybody a rundown.
Okay. The bids range from $950,000 to $504,280. There's quite a difference in between all of them. Musco added the special lighting, which brought it up to $1.2 million as another option. The interest rates were, Lighting Inc. has really the best interest rates overall at 4.63 to 4.76 between the 3, 5, and 7 years. Let's see, the other one was, Techline has a 5.42% interest for all 3 of those years, 3, 5, and 7. And Musco's for 3 and 5 is 5.96% with 7 years at 6.11. And Ephesus is just a 7-year flat-out pay of $129,929 a year. And I could not figure out if they had interest, I couldn't find it. The Musco's has a 25-year warranty. Lighting Inc. has a 25-year warranty. The other 2 had 10-year warranties. And with Lighting Inc., Techline would be one of the companies they would use, and with Ephesus, they would use Shawnee Lighting, which we heard from several times. So, anyway,
So
that's,
who was the 500,000, was that Techline?
That's Techline.
yes.
And what, I don't know, how could they use them, is it in here?
Hey, so if I can interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not asking you guys tonight to make a decision on, there's no action on this thing. What I need is for you guys to tell me, kind of where you think you want to look at, so that I can try to start putting together some financing options, whether it's, we want to try to take this out of the ADA, or try to get some private donations, and combine it, to bring those annual payments down a little bit. I need a direction from you guys where to go. So I start working on how we're going to finance this. And even if you think we need to upgrade the pipes, that's probably the first question. And if you do, then I need some direction from the board on what you want me to look at, what you want to really dig. Because like Gail said, there's quite a disparity in prices. And there's also, I think, after hearing all the presentations, quite a disparity in quality of the product. So that's kind of what I'm asking you for is where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do?
So Steve, I know we have the $100,000 grant. I think my big question is, how can we just use that? Are there options to just use a $100,000 grant for LED lighting in a specific spot, and then try to get the grant again next year, since there's no guarantee of the grant? I'm hesitant to invest or to put ourselves in a hole of $500,000 to $1 million for something that isn't a huge need right now, when there are other needs that I think, my opinion, would have more value for us. Is there a way to spend $100,000 of that grant without putting ourselves in a bigger hole?
Yeah, I have to look. One of the maybe like we go back here in my files. One of them gave me a quote just for essentially the Northwestern softball field. And I've not had a chance to talk to Mr. Franz yet about I've had a chance to talk to Mr. Franz to see what Northwestern's willing to
Steve, that grant was just, that wasn't for repair, that was for just LED, correct?
Yeah, that's only for upgrading, the current lights we have. So that's part of the grant is, we have to upgrade to LEDs to try to save money, on the world. And I'm not trying to be flippant, but I guess I am. But I'm digging here, let's see, oh, here we go, there it is. It's, there's some pieces, yeah, I'll get digging, but one of them was just over $100,000 for just the, Northwestern softball field. So, I think it has me, and once again, my opinion doesn't count much. I think there's something we need to look into. I think it is a need, and or you can tell if I'm wrong or not, but I know you've got some lights going out that it's gonna cost us quite a bit to get repaired, replaced. I think our best bet is to try to go out and find some private donations, at least cut it down by half. Then I think it's affordable, through the, sales tax revenue for the ADA. But if we don't get it down by half, we're gonna work up to it. That's just my opinion.
Do we have any idea on what the cost for replacement for lights that we currently have?
I do not, I know.
Just the replacement bulbs of some of them.
I do not, because when some started going out, I know that at one time Scott Klein at Northwest Electric could get the bulbs for us, but that was, it's been a couple of years, so I'm sure they've increased. And they do not have the lift to do it, which we would have to rent a lift for them to do it, but I could definitely, give them a call, have them look up, see what the light bulbs themselves would cost us, and at least make a comparison. We can't, because it's only for LED. Yeah, converting to LED, yes, yes. But I can definitely reach back out and, see what per bulb what they run.
Steve, could that money be used to install new lights, like in that area we talked about to the south of the big soccer field, where the flag football is played? Could it be used to install new lights that are LED? Or would that would probably be the north of $100,000?
I don't think that'd be worth $100,000. I think that we could probably get away with $100,000 for the soccer field.
On like south of Northwestern's field and south of our, like
I
east of
think
the concession
that
stand.
would fluctuate under $100,000, or at least maybe right at it. And as long as we're putting in LEDs, we can use that grant for it.
But that does the ones we talked about.
No, so, those are for the two fields that are lit right now. We have some that aren't lit. Yeah, and they're not as big.
That one's $169,000.
Could we not just do like the soccer field with that $100,000 grant first?
Because,
And
well.
then next year if we do it, next year if we get that grant, we can do one pot of it.
That's my thought, it's something, we need better numbers, I think.
Well, and
Better.
honestly,
But
the soccer lights are probably used more than softball and baseball in the long run, just because Northwestern, a lot of their games run into the night.
It
And
would have
of course,
impact
all of
for
our youth
high school
play at
as well.
night, and in high school, yeah. So I think if we did anything, I think soccer probably would be. If we had to split it up, I would say soccer would be the first one to do. If the price was right,
And I know it may no longer cost more, but if we don't know we're getting that $100,000 grant every year, if we don't get it one year, we don't do it.
Right.
Get it the next year. Keep going.
Even though soccer is used more, the playability under the lights, is it more important than soccer, or more important than softball and baseball? I'm not a soccer player. Like, which fields need lighting more?
Well, the soccer field lights are usually.
That's what I'm saying, I know
Yes.
that, but I'm saying, when you're out there playing, is it more beneficial under a baseball field or a soccer field?
I would assume baseball and softball.
That's what I would say
Smaller
too.
ball.
I think that has to weigh your decision, not just which lights are on the longest.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know about soccer.
I just said soccer because
I know.
Greg had said
Yeah, I know.
they were used more, so I thought.
Yeah. The soccer ball stays pretty low. You know, baseball go way up in the air, need lighting.
Is there a certain field that is where a lot of lights are out, where maybe that field would make more sense to convert it if it's in that 100,000 range, rather than replacing?
Well, and then the other thing we could do is if, say we did one field, whether it be baseball or softball, we go out and see which is out the most. We use those other bulbs that
Those
are
other
still
bulbs.
working
To
to
replace.
replace the ones that are out on the other fields. Now, I don't think it would replace all of them, you know, but I think it would at least give us, we wouldn't have to pay for bulbs if the bulbs are still working. So, I mean, that's a thought too. Now, do we go back and ask them to break it down per field, just to see what we're
Well, I think
looking
you're
at?
gonna have, I mean, you have to almost, because it's, next year it's gonna be more,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
they're not gonna stick with it. And the lights are gonna change in 8 years.
That's one of my thoughts, is break it down into $100,000 a year that will cover grant money rather than put ourselves in a hole.
well, and if you, just with this number, like if, say you, and I know if they do them all, it's gonna be cheaper, but with the softball fields, just from Lighting Inc., it's about $73,000 per field. And that's just with that company, just because I just turned to this right here.
Tech line would be a lot less, because they're, if we're with that same math, because they're at 504,000. Right. Lighting is at 783, is that right?
Yeah. But I don't, the tech line didn't have it broke down, did it?
They didn't have it broke down, it just had the total.
It just had the
amount.
total, yeah. So, right. You know, and there may be a way with the tech line to do
Maybe you could
two.
do 2 instead of 1.
One baseball, one softball, or
Yeah.
something like that, or then you could have your main.
Like a
game.
championship fields or something, yeah.
That's late at night, that's later, especially in fall where it's gonna.
So I think the main thing is we need to have to break down per field to see what we can use the grant money for. And then use the extra bulbs that are working on those fields and replace them on other fields until we can get them.
Maybe they could do the replacement here.
Well, yeah.
They had the equipment.
That you put-
I'm not crazy about jumping into a big price like this. It's just my opinion. Especially, you know, the pool's gonna make our rec numbers not look good. And so, kept it in the black so long, it's like, I don't want to go to rec.
I don't know how many good donations you can go ask the community for at this point either after the pool or
Yeah, yeah.
turf.
And that's why, you know, just like with the passive one, it's kind of shocking what we have, with everybody's already given their donations. So, yes, I agree.
Any other discussion?
Can we skip back up to director's report for a second? I forgot something. Okay, so I got an email from Brad Franz on the press box, raising up the press box. And, pull this up. So at first he was gonna go up 8 feet, I think. And then it was discussed, hey, why don't we go up 10? Just so that way there's enough clearance underneath of what they're gonna do. So they would have the 4 columns off, this says 8, but like we discussed 10. off the ground. They have a ladder that came around, and it would be in that same steel that the shade structures have. Sorry. So, I can forward this on to you guys so you can see what it looked like. He just sent it yesterday, I think, or the day before, and I just briefly spoke with him. So I can forward this on so you guys can kind of see what it looks like and see if this is something we want them to do. I do agree it needs to be up off the ground. Couple reasons. People like to sit behind the backstops, and plus, when it rains, the bottom of the press box floods because of how it was put in, or the concrete was done. I don't know, but it floods and it's horrible. So I will forward this on to you guys. You guys look over it and let me know your thoughts, and then I can get back with Brad and let him know what we're all thinking.
Any remarks, inquiries by board members?
Thanks for all the work you've been putting in.
Chris and I have been putting in a lot. It has been, it's been a challenge for us, but I will say that neither one of us could have done it by ourselves. And so it's really good that we're both in that situation where one of us can't do it and the other one can't do it. So we just want it all to work out. We want, what's best for the kids and everything else. So I've been taking, I know a lot of people say that I'm not at the rec center that much, and I haven't been, but I am on my laptop